Welcome back to Anna Mondays. I am the JJ. I am wearing a hat, by the way, in case you're wondering. I am wearing one. It's JoJo, so it grew into the back of my head. We're back on JoJo, Stardust Crusaders Part 1, and we're gonna hop right into it, Episode 1. We pick up with the return of Dio via Ocean Coffin, of all things. You have this fisherman group that's searching for treasure or fish or whatever they're searching for. It's not really important. They don't matter. They go disappearing in a few minutes anyway. Dio gets pulled up. They chip the coffin. They try to get the treasure in, and I guess this is a message in, you know, greed. But yeah. After that, we see this woman just walking through the police station, walking through jail. You see the corridors, and the police are guiding her, and this is really weird. This is the weird one. Part 1, in Phantom Blood, we got Jonathan JoJo, and that JoJo specifically is very valorous and honorable and courageous and kind and amicable and all those good things. Then we get Part 2, and we meet Joseph, who is a bit of an asshole, but still has the Jonathan. He's very kind. He understands compassion for certain people. He's a little bit of an asshole, but he's still amicable, kind, all those good things. Then we get to Jotaro. And he calls his mother a bitch. Right off the bat. His mom's just trying to pick him up from jail. Like, because, you know, that's a normal Saturday night for the JoJo family. But, hey, you know, my son's in prison. What am I going to do? I'm going to go get him. What's the response to that? Go away, you annoying bitch. Oh! He basically implies that he's not leaving due to spirits. It took everything I had to stop from beating the guy that put me in here in the first place. That all their balls were crushed. That's what the police officer said. But that's the thing, is, like, they're evil spirits, but, like, that's the weird part for me. I know he's just researching it, but it's like, you know they're not evil. They're handing you sodas while you're in prison. They're getting you shit to research. They're, like, getting you books and fucking... and cassette players, and by the way, cassette players. Oh god. Now I just feel like a fucking 80-year-old. And while in there, he even tries to shoot himself to prove his point about the evil spirit. Oh, you don't think it's real? You don't see it? You're not paying close enough attention because... And then you see the bullet stop an inch before his head. You as the audience, actually get to see the stand for the first time, and clearly. And I really kind of like the design on these. That whole phased out and always behind them. By the way, that's also why they're called stands, because they stand by you. Now let's get into stands, because stands replace Hamon from the last two series. And I wouldn't necessarily... No, they replace it, but it's not that they're gone. You'll see Hamon once or twice in the series, but that kind of bothers me. If we moved on from it, I wish we would have either moved on from it, or just, you know, incorporated both. So Joseph from Part 2 returns, and we get a weird new character with him named Afdal. And by weird, well, I'll get into that throughout the series. Weird might not be the best term. Inconsistent might be. It sounds like I'm pooping on this series a lot, and you will hear a lot of negatives because of how fucking batshit crazy it is, the sheer insanity in its writing. You'll hear a lot of negatives, but I'll usually follow that negative up, and if I don't, I mean to, with it's so batshit crazy that it's actually still kind of enjoyable. The series thrives on the non-realistic. But anyway, moving on. Seeing Jotaro run the prison with his stand is fucking amazing. The cops are all ashamed. They're just, come on, if anyone knows about this, we're gonna be screwed. I have a reputation to keep. Get this guy out of our fucking cells. Oh yeah, he's been discharged and he's not leaving. It's just, he does whatever the fuck he wants. You start seeing him, like, just, yeah, I'm here in prison, I'm laying down, going to sleep, you know, trying to serve my sentence, just doing whatever I want. And then throughout the times that we see him, because we leave to get Joseph and come back, he just has more and more shit. So Avdol tries to persuade him out of the cell, and by that I mean kick the shit out of him. Anime. The thing I want to talk specifically about this, which he does refuse to leave again, which causes them to get into a nice little fight. And it's interesting they put this early because it really grabs your interest. You might not know anything about the series, you might not have seen parts 1 and 2, but if you pick up on this one, and you see this fight, and this interesting brooding character, and this old guy, all of this stuff just culminates into just a very interesting first episode, and it sets the tone of what you're gonna watch. It's very, got me. You got me with that one fight. Nice. I do want to mention that during this fight, you have this very interesting cultural music choice for Avdol when he's fighting. And it's very sitar-ish. I know I just made up a word, yay! But it has that element to it, and you just get it, and it works culturally, and you get where he's from, and it all just kind of clicks. The one thing that I really do like about this series is the cultural aspect, since it's basically around the world in 80 days, around the world in 80 deaths. It needs to, oh god, that's perfect. Since it very much is that around the world cultural feeling, and I've learned some things culturally from this show, though again, it's a show, so maybe look up the things afterwards. There's probably a few things in here that are very JoJo only, and in fact they even have a thing at the beginning saying the places and people and stuff like that aren't exactly what they seem they're going to be. It's not supposed to be a 1-1 representation. This is fiction. So Avdol's fighting him, and he catches him in his flames, he's binded, JoJo's like up against the bars, there's a table behind him and a toilet behind him, there's a lot of room, and I'm telling you all this because this is leading somewhere. This is the kind of bullshit that I mentioned earlier that you're like, no! Actually, that's kind of awesome. Fuck, it's JoJo. God damn it, this is cool. Why do I like bullshit right now? But he's caught, he's trapped, he's binded up against the cell bars, and to get out of that, he kicks the table with such ferocity that it goes across the room, shattering the toilet, which then launches water like a fucking Blastoise across the room, putting out the flames. So we find out why JoJo was in there the whole time. Avdol actually does manage to do what he said and pull JoJo out of the cell. I actually quite like that. Do everything in your power to get my grandson out of there. Get him out of there no matter what, even if you have to put him in the hospital. Okay, done. And just when you think Avdol's about to die, Avdol just turns around, walks away, stops fighting. Why did you turn around? Well, I did what I said I was going to do. You're out of your cell. Asshole. Apparently JoJo was in the cell the whole time, researching his stand. Why? This is one of my biggest problems with the beginning of this. This just doesn't make any sense to me. I want to research this, so instead of going to the library, let me go, murder somebody and get thrown in prison. What the fuck kind of logic is that? I mean, I get you'd be at peace, but go to library. It's fucking silent. You'd be at peace there, and you wouldn't be against your will, and you also wouldn't have had to crush people's balls. So Joseph's powers are weirdly inconsistent. They're all at the table. They're setting up the plot for this episode, for this arc. Dio's returned. Joseph's telling Jotaro about the family, the Dio situation, all of which you can read in Phantom Blood and Part 2, Battle Tendency. But back to my point, Joseph's powers are weirdly inconsistent. He has this thing called Hermit Purple, which it's this weird spiny thing that comes out of his hand, and if he touches certain electrical items, he could get like a picture of something far away or that's going to happen, or something that'll help enlighten the group. That's kind of his ability. What I mean by wildly inconsistent about it, though, is at first he needed to smash expensive cameras to do so. Then we go to Dio, and we see Dio hits a camera, doesn't need to break it at all, just taps it, one comes out, and he can do it too. So does JoJo need to do that? Does Joseph need to actually break the camera to do it, or is it just because it's Joseph, he's a fucking lug and puts too much into it? But then again, later on in the series, spoiler alert, he does it with a TV, and doesn't break the TV if I remember correctly. So what the fuck? We see Dio stole Jonathan's body while the credits roll, and wow, a body? He stole a body? I've seen him steal a lot of things, like, like people's free will, actual goods, like items, a dog's life, the scene, but a body? Something I do want to mention before we move on to the next episode is that both first episodes that we've seen, I could be wrong, it might be all three, but for at least Part 1 and for Part 3, I remember they full-on, no opening ending, every little bit of that 24-minute block was storytelling. And I very much appreciate that. You threw a lot at us, but it didn't feel like too much, but you used all the time you had and gave us a lot. And I want a lot when it comes to a setup. Episode 2. Jotaro literally tells fangirls to shut the hell up, they're being annoying. That was a quote. Meet Kakyoin, who's painting JoJo, and then displays a cool visual of slicing the leg of the painting with red. Like, he has the brush and it's red paint, and then as he does that, Jotaro crumbles to the ground because he's got a slit on his leg. Very misleading. Cool visual, but very misleading, because that's not his power. So Dio claims that the body, Jonathan's body, gave him the stand. So are we saying then that Jonathan could have stopped time all this time, and then still died on a sinking ship? I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, oh, maybe he didn't know how to use it, or maybe it wasn't active. Well, then why is Dio just get it and it's instantly active? He should know about stands. He's been fucking in a coffin for X amount of time. Like it's just weird that we mentioned Jonathan had one of these and we've never explored it until now. Is it dormant? I'm sitting here in this cramped room. How could you enjoy this garbage, Avdol? And then another really good line. Japanese coffee is fucking terrible. And then it cuts to Avdol. That's actually American coffee. So it's literally just a parody at those people who are just like, fucking hate this place. Just looking for any excuse to bitch. Any excuse. He just wants to hate it. So Jotaro is going about his regular day. He's in school, which, by the way, he doesn't attend frequently, to the point where he left his house in one of these episodes and said, you know, I think today is the day that I'm actually gonna go to school. So Jotaro decided to go to school today, and he's in the nurse's office, to which he opens that napkin Kakyoin gave him, because Kakyoin's a suave bastard, walks by him after cutting his leg, and just, you're gonna need this. So he opens it up finally, a good 5 minutes later in the episode, just when the audience, or at least me personally, forgot about it. So he opens it up. Jotaro, I'm going to kill you today with my stand. Pretty forward. But just as he reads that, the entire scene changes from a nice, fun, oh, the nurse is like this playfully, oh, yeah, flirtatious, this is great, oh, these delinquents are making jokes, this is delinquent land, everybody jump in flowers. And then out of nowhere, the scene goes dark, and you see the eyes of the nurse start to be different, and her movements are it's very much exorcism-level possession. Very, very, very good at being creepy, very good at cultivating that horror element. Jotaro etches the stand out of her mouth. The nurse, that is. I told you, it seemed kind of flirtatious, and then just literally, oh, I see it, it's in there. Okay, only one way to get it out. But after he does that, you get a really cool fight between him and Kakyoin. One that ends in Kakyoin probably dying. He's not dead. Like, he's carried off and, oh, he's alive afterwards, but he should probably be dead. I do want to say that this made me realize, this is the fight that it clicked for me, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna like stand fights a lot more than I liked Hamon fights. Hamon fights were more just, okay, I gotta do this and get out of it, and there's puzzles to it, which I think is very fun. But stand fights have layers of that puzzle, like, oh, we need to find a way to beat this specific thing, but they have more of a shonen fight feel, and in this case, I want a shonen fight feel. This is supposed to be an action series mixed with comedy, drama, and all that other stuff, romance sometimes. Not the best on that aspect. There's a line that Jotaro says towards the end of this that just makes me want to cry, and it proves my point of him being an asshole hypocrite, but I leave without paying for shitty food. But I know evil. Okay, I beat people up. I don't pay people for food I don't like. And that's literally a taste thing. Literally a taste thing. But if I don't like it, I don't pay. But you're evil. I know evil. Yeah, of course you do. You look at it every time you look in the fucking mirror. So as I mentioned before, Kakyoin should be dead. He gets grabbed by the throat, gripped tightly, and shaken by the throat. Now a head, I don't think I have to explain how bones work and are attached. They're not anymore. They're gone. They're dust at this point. Just with Jotaro gripping it, they are just snowflakes in his body. And that's not even the worst part. He then, because if that wasn't enough, the force of him, while still holding from the neck, beating on him, bludgeoning his face. He should be fucking dead. So he takes Kakyoin back to Joseph for interrogation. We find out that Dio implanted a control parasite, or a flesh bud, right in the tip of his forehead, just right there. So Kakyoin had no choice. That's a good way to get around the whole, hey, he should join the team later thing, because we know what's going to happen. At least I did. Episode 3. Joseph explains how dangerous charisma is, so you might as well call Dio D-off Hitler, because he is that. So Jotaro pulls the butt out, the flesh butt out with his bare hands, which he's told beforehand, not even like the world's most accomplished doctors would be able to pull this shit off. Surgery would probably result in Kakyoin dying. The kid's probably gonna die. That's like what we get. He's not 10% chance of him living here. And he does it. And JoJo pulls it out with his Stan's bare hands. One, he really shouldn't be able to do this. And two, he's actually being attacked while doing it, because the butt has tentacles that enter his body and are working its way up to his brain, and he manages to pull it out before it reaches his brain. I'm gonna have an aneurysm. I'm really gonna have an aneurysm by the end of this series. The reason why I like that scene is they're all explaining why he's not able to do this, and then he just goes, oh, okay, well, you're explaining to me why I can't do this. I'm gonna explain to you why I'm a main character. Whoop! They destroy the bud with a overdrive! So yeah, we actually do get to see some, Hamon in this episode, which is cool. It's nice to see, but again, I do wish that if we were going to ignore it and move on and say that they're outdated and we're going to use stands, I probably would have preferred you to actually use those, because when you just randomly like pepper it in, it just feels like, oh hey, this existed. Remember, I don't want this to feel like it dropped. It already does feel like that, so just don't include it and make me remember it. So we get a scene from Joseph's mom, who says, Mama sees right through you. No, he's a dick. You're just a mother, and he could shank you in the stomach at this point, and you still think he's a good guy. So Holly has a line in here where she's talking to Joseph, and this is some of the best comedy in this series for me. She's talking to Joseph, her father, and Joseph, again, hates Japan, hates cultural things like that. Holly. Her name is Holly. Holly comes from holy, which is Seinaru. So call me Seiko. The hell is this? JoJo's fair response. And my response to that is a weeaboo, Joseph. A fucking weeaboo.
Hey Mom, I'm Japanese now, okay? Reality check. Reality check. Reality check.
It's just funny how much it irritates him. It really is just that one thing that gets under his skin, and it sort of feels like she does it slightly to piss him off, though it is for her own happiness. Like, he's calling, Holly, Holly, and she'll just refuse to fucking answer him. Nope, not until you call me Seiko. They clearly use Holly's serene nature to twist the stand in a negative way for her, which I really think is clever. You find out that there's this stand growing on her back, she's collapsed because of it, she can't handle it. If the stand is more powerful than you, it has more will than you, if you don't have the will to control it, it can overtake you. I think that's really clever. I think that's really fun. And then Dio being the cause for this happening, the actual spike in it, since he stole Jonathan's body, that I'm confused as fuck by. But this actual idea of the stand overtaking Holly and them having X amount of time to stop Dio before it happens, I think that's fucking genius. That is a great plot setup. If you just give that synopsis to someone, that's something that would, or at least to me, that would instantly just be done. I'll watch that. So thus starts the real plot this season. Like I said, a clever race around the world against time to find Dio before Holly she succumbs to her stand and dies. So we got a really large group, I'd say 40-something episodes of just funny, sad, action-packed beauty and just pure bliss ahead of us. This specific series, Stardust Crusaders, gets better as each episode happens. The closer they get to Dio, and the more it's just, oh, they're almost there, it just builds this level of anticipation, and it does it unlike any other series I've ever personally watched. His stand sketches an unseeable portion of the picture, and although it's just a fly, Avdol conveniently recognizes it. Keyword there, conveniently. Just felt a little too convenient for me, though, again, later on I'm going to have a couple complaints about Avdol. Maybe Avdol's just the information guy. He spent his whole life studying everything. Yeah, it still feels a little too convenient. Oh, I know that specific type of flies from this area. Oh, I know that this powers this. Oh, I've heard of this stand before. This is a very important stand. Kakyoin aims to join them because of how JoJo saved him and how Dio, well, didn't. And, in Dio's mind he did. That's the fucked up part. But I just can't help but think to myself, okay, so now we got Kakyoin, Avdol, you know, Jotaro, Joseph. This is awesome. We're 4 guys. So we're 1 away from having that cliche 5-man anime squad. If only 1 guy would show up during our journey, during our escapades. Only 1 guy. You know, for shits and giggles, let's just say he has white hair. And he's another stand user, and he's French. So we end this episode with a cool setup / hype for the journey. They're leaving. You have this speech overlaid onto these intercuts of them putting their foot down in a line. Everything about this was very good at building anticipation and hype for the next few episodes. The music was the perfect choice in music. It was the, just that little which you're gonna hear a lot. I think this soundtrack is one of my favorite anime soundtracks. You like metal and guitar and rock? Right place, guys. You're in the right place. The camera tilt when they're at the gate and the camera tilts up. And also we get to know the few stand names. We get to meet Hierophant Green, Star Platinum, Magician's Red, Hermit Purple, some of which they've said already, but this is just the actual formal introduction to all of them, and it feels, since we're about to get into the fight, which is going to use these heavily, feels like the right place to say hello. Before we do move on to episode 4, which is the last episode we're going to be doing in these, I do want to mention something that I noticed. It's fun how the stands sort of represent the people that they're with. Like, for example, Avdol is great at deceiving, and he's great at twisting people the way that he wants. For example, the prison. Oh, I'll get Joseph out. Or, I'll get Jotaro out, sorry. There's so many fucking JoJos. I'll get Jotaro out, it'll be fine. No big deal. And he does it like that. And the way that he just manipulates people and knows things, I think that really fits well for Magician. Hermit. Joseph hates leaving his home. He hates leaving the USA, and if he does, he's miserable and grumpy. So, again, Hermit. He likes to relegate himself to his area. JoJo is idolized by all these women around him. He's a star platinum. I love how that is. Hierophant Green. The fuck's a Hierophant? Am I the only one who doesn't? I'm gonna have to Google Hierophant. But yeah, episode 4. Dio is killing mind slaves / banging them, so he's Vladislav from What We Do in the Shadows. Okay. Oh my god, he's a vampire. He actually is. Also, we get a cool explanation for, just a fear, that whole narration with Enyaba. Who you will meet is this old woman in Dio's palace. Watching him bang younger women. This is the weirdest fucking guy in the world. So we meet our first stand as they're on the plane, and it's a bug. Oh god. Oh god. I think I said in one of my other reviews that stands could be anything, and they said that stands could be anything. I didn't think they meant fucking literally anything. These pops? There's a chance that one of them's a fucking stand, and I'm dead. Welcome to the series. The bug's name is Tower of Grey, and I just said that as a fucking sentence. God, this is the weirdest series ever. And all I'm gonna say is be weary of light socket, because light sockets are scary, guys. So the bug is actually kind of horrifying. All jokes aside, it is kind of a scary fucking stand. It moves faster than a bullet. And by that I mean Jotaro, JoJo's stand, is able to catch bullets. It's faster than bullets. It's faster than his stand, so it's faster than bullets. It tries to bite JoJo's tongue off, which it's actually kind of, it's nice to see, like, the endgame move tried first, like a finishing, like, normally in fights you'll see, like, oh, that wasn't my strongest technique. In this it was actually nice to see, oh, I'm just gonna rip your tongue off and kill you. That's it. And I kind of like that. It's sort of refreshing. Avdol seems to know a lot about these stands. It's, as I mentioned before, it's a bit convenient, but forgivable since we don't know his backstory. We haven't been following him like Joseph, or Jotaro at this point. So it's like, he could know it. He could potentially know this stuff. He could have spent his whole life researching. He seems to know a lot about culture, so fine. He tells the plain story, which is a great setup for, well, irony. And they're basically all worried. They're all sitting in their seats, and this is what I like about this. They're all sitting in their seats, and they're seeing the bug fly around, and it's flying in and out of view. It's disappearing, hiding behind seats. You have this just them trying to follow it moment. Basically, it all leads to a bunch of passengers dying, to which they stand up. They actually stand up. To which they stand up, and they actually start looking for the bug, and they try to stop it, and they actually get, like, into action mode, fight mode. You actually see that there's a clear change from, okay, let's plan to, let's just take care of this shit, because if not, we're dead. There's a line that they say that we have to kill it so that the other passengers don't panic. Yeah, a little late for that. Shouldn't they have fucking seen... I mean, I know they can't see stands, but they see blood. There's a bunch of people in the middle aisles pouring blood from their mouths and collapsing. Not to mention, massacre is written in blood on the wall, and we're running around fucking yelling things. There's no way this is hidden. Like, there's a 0% chance. The bug dodges bullets, so obviously it easily dodges emerald splashes. The emerald splashes might not be for that, because again we're watching JoJo, which means everything done is for a setup for something else in a fight. So we reveal that the splashes were just cover for the setup underneath, similar to how he possessed the nurse through the floor. Same idea. He threw out all the stuff, and then basically enclosed on the bug. Very clever way of doing this. And classic anime. Think back to Yu Yu Hakusho, as I was just doing that recently. The pebble to the head, seed to the stomach. Nice distraction, capitalize on the distraction. Earlier on, there was this old guy who tried to go to the bathroom. He just kind of got up and walked to the bathroom, put his hand on blood. M.A. Massacre? What's this sticky stuff? Blood? Chopped in the back of the neck by Kakyoin. Remember that he was chopped in the back of the neck by Kakyoin. The old guy trying to go to the bathroom, as I've just mentioned from earlier, wakes up and we reveal that he was the stand user. I'm really not surprised. He was one of the only, like, plain people we focused on. He had dialogue, and he was an extra, so he was the stand user. But, though if Kakyoin knocked him out before, shouldn't it be over? That's the thing that bothers me. You remember I said I'm gonna shit on that in a minute? Okay, Kakyoin hits him decently hard with a chop in the back of the neck. The guy's old. I don't care if he's a fucking stand user. He's knocked unconscious. At least. And if we know anything about stands, if you're unconscious, you can't use your stand, so the second Kakyoin did that, the bug should have been fucking gone. So, like, what are we saying here? Are we saying that Kakyoin is just really weak and can't knock out an old man, or are we saying that the old man is just surprisingly, deceivingly strong, though we never show that? Though we kind of do. I'm gonna go with the old guy. This is just on-the-fly thinking for me. I'm gonna go with the old guy because he does appear later, standing where he should be dead, just to say a line and then explodes blood. Again, anime moment. Anime! Joseph realizes that the plane is flying crooked, and we get a whole new danger here. We go from a danger of stand to a danger of, I guess nature, you'd call it. The plane, gravity is just gonna kill him. That's pretty much what I'm getting at here. Plane's going down. It's revealed that the real plan was to kamikaze the plane, which is a very full circle moment, because if you don't remember, Avdol had that whole story about him taking down planes, made it look like an accident. It all comes full circle, so surprisingly well written there. The tower user somehow gets up, warns JoJo's group that they will be pursued every hour of every day, which is the truth. Again, stands are fucking everything and everywhere. And just dies, and just collapses. So he came in, he said all that, and then just... blood, as I've mentioned. Why did we do this? I think we knew that Dio was going to come at them with everything they've got. They probably knew that Dio was watching them in this scene. The beginning of the scene, it felt like someone was watching me. I think Dio was watching us. Yeah, I felt that too. That was said. They already know. Just have the old guy have died so they don't look fucking incompetent. We have a line from Joseph that's actually really good continuity. I'm good with propeller planes, but, oh yeah, part 2. He did use a propeller plane. He escaped from the Pillar Men in it. That's kind of clever, having Joseph recall that and recount those tales. I like that. We should do that more. Have Joseph, since he's a narrative character in this, just have him constantly be like, oh, this is kind of like this. Oh, this is kind of like this. Oh, this is kind of like this. And it would feel a little more continual. It'd feel a little more tied to the last series. Another great comedy scene that I want to mention before we go off is they land in Hong Kong, which, by the way, beautiful scenery, the $1 Million View or whatever it was called. I really love all of this. This is what I like. The culture in the series spread apart through multiple countries, multiple arcs, multiple countries. Genius way of doing this. It always feels fresh. It always feels, I'm in a new area. And you establish all of them, which is a major fucking problem. Most people don't know how to do establishing shots. Just, oh, we're in Hong Kong now, okay. Joseph's reaction to hot cola is fucking amazing. Hey, you want to try this hot cola? Hot? What are you, fucking disgusting? Everyone knows cola's supposed to be cold. The plane crash has them all worried that they won't make it in time now because they should have already been in Cairo. Great stakes building. Joseph pulls out a map and says, well, around the world in 80 days happened, so it is plausible, but this is going to be tight, especially with the amount of people that are probably gunning for us. We can't take a fucking plane anymore, since, you know, my count's gone up from 3 to 4 now. But yeah, let's take a boat, because, you know, that's smart. Let's not go by car or train, or let's take a boat, because, you know, the plane worked out so well. Let's do that and just throw it on water. Genius. We have a great comedic way to meet Polnareff, who's totally not going to be that fifth man on the team. He's not. It's just not going to happen. You're fucking drunk. He clearly works for Dio and loves Dio. You're wrong. He comes up with the menu and just, this is my first time being in Hong Kong. I'm having a hard time with the kanji on the menu. Would you mind having... Go away, you're annoying! His face is actually that hurt, too, which is fucking beautiful. I was watching it on Crunchyroll, which PSN allows you to take pictures of, and I totally took a picture of that, because just the go away, you're annoying, and just... And it is a setup. He knows he's going to fuck with these guys, so the acting on Polnareff's part is great. So we get a cool sliding running shot of our group after we reveal that Polnareff is going to be the enemy here. Very clever way of doing it, too. Just wow, they put a lot of effort into this meal, you know. Look at this carrot. It's a fucking star. Funny that I mentioned star. Puts it on his neck. Oh, he knows. So after his evil reveal, we get a cool sliding running shot of our group. Very menacing. Shows the fear on all their faces, but also sets up the readiness, the attentiveness that each one of them has, and it's just, the sliding shot is beautiful, and I've never seen that before. And by sliding shot, I don't just simply mean a panning shot across the room. I mean, you know how in anime you'll get, like, a section of the screen devoted to a specific character? They do that. They'll cut it, like, from here. This will be Joseph's reaction. Pan. And then it'll go off screen, and this will be Avdol's reaction, and it goes off screen, and then this box will be Jotaro's reaction. I've never seen something like that done before. I've always seen the split screen and I've seen the pan, but putting those two together was really interesting in my opinion. That's all I really got for you. We'll see you next week. If you can, click the description below, see what we're doing. It's almost definitely going to be Stardust Crusaders Part 2. And, yeah, like and subscribe. If you can, leave a comment. I'd like to talk more about JoJo. Even if this is the only video you guys decide to leave comments on, do it, because I like to talk about JoJo, as you can tell. We'll see you next week, and, yeah, that's pretty much it.